All right. So looking at Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, so we were talking about rook and pawn endgames and how common they are. So why is it that they're so common? Well, like let's say you're up a pawn, you want to trade pieces, right? You trade a bunch of pieces down. What are the last ones left? The rooks, because they were in the corners, right? Unless you want to play a4 and hang your rook with rook a6. Some beginners will do that and stuff, right? But generally speaking, you're going to bring them to the middle. And yeah, that's why the rooks will be the last one standing. And I think it was about 10% of GM games that they say are rook and pawn end games. So yeah, we can pick one of these and look at a tragic comedy. Do you guys have anything in particular? I mean, we got a rook and pawn versus rook. That's your classic. What do you think?
I was looking at what's the umbrella? Too sticky because it's
Yeah, I
raining.
was right, right. I was looking at that
Curious.
too. I'm like, what is he referring to? And people have different ways of referring to things. No, the other day, someone was talking about well, there's the scholar's mate, and they said the fool's mate, and they mixed them up. But like, I
Mhm.
mean, and also maybe it depends how to translate. It was from a different speaking of the language. So yeah, maybe it depends how you translate it too. But it's like sometimes the names get confused how you describe things. I've heard like Morphe's legend or something. There are different ways. So the umbrella
Yeah, and
160.
then like poison pawn, they call it something else too. I never heard of it. I can't remember what he called it, but he kept saying whatever it was. I kept saying poison, it's a poison pawn, and he was like, no, it's a something pawn, and I don't remember now what it was called, but it was funny.
And I just see something on doubled pawns. I've heard them called. What's the other name? What have you guys heard? Doubled pawns also called
Stacked. Uh,
stacked pawns. Right. Okay, perfect. So here we have our tragic comedies. So basically, it's rook and two pawns versus rook. Oh, two, but see, that's what I'm saying though. He's very in depth. So I think he had rook and one pawn. No, he has A and H pawns. Um, that's earlier on one. So you say 167, right? But he gets more into depth than he shows there. But let me see if I have the exact just one second. Let me see if I have the exact same version because I'm seeing this is page 160. Now here under 160. Yeah, yeah, it's a rook. So page 161. No, no, mine actually has more than this. My it's a different version. Like it breaks it down more. Yeah, because you have pawn on the sixth rank. So on page 150. Oh wait. Yeah, it's different a little bit because here it says 150 says pawn. It says rook and pawn versus rook, and it says sixth rank, seventh rank, fifth rank, and then it gets into the umbrella. Yeah, so this must be a newer version, which maybe there are more tragic comedies that he included in this version or something. But at any rate, so I said it was 160. We were doing the umbrella, right? So yeah, this one's 157. So go to the umbrella, and I'm sure, yep, right away there's a tragic comedy. So Zaitsev versus Hubner. Oh, I think I've read, speaking of calculus-like descriptions, I think Hubner is like a German GM and in typical style, or maybe an IM, I think, but in typical style, going super in-depth in the explanations. It's in some journal someone shared with me. I think it was Hubner. But a really good article too, like a New Yorker kind of article, and this like a 15-page one or something. So here's the position. And we have an example of a blunder by a GM. So that's the tragic comedy. So playing for black, and then it shows how we could have drawn. That's often what happens. Like here's how we could have saved it, and that's effectively our sideline. And you tell me how hard you think it is. What are you saying? Well, I'll show you real quick. So it's pretty easy to set up. We only got a few like five pieces. Okay. Oh, we have the European Chess Club Cup going on now. Did you guys know about that? Magnus is playing in that.
no, I
We
never.
got Magnus, MVL, Anand. Interesting. So that's always we can watch it later a bit maybe. So all I gotta do is go to Lee Chessboard Editor, Clearboard, and so this one I'm just looking at from White's perspective. So here's how Hubner messed up basically. But you can imagine too if you're a GM and you're in time pressure, you can imagine totally just messing up. We all mess up in time pressure. That's why people love to get me in time pressure. I hope I'll mess up, and I don't always mess up as much as they hope I will, but I aim for a better position so it won't happen, but it does happen sometimes. They're trying to avoid time pressure when you're in the end game. But another thing is that they give you an hour or half an hour usually after 40 moves. So you can get that extra time for the end game. All right, so here we are. It's black to move. This is so Zaitsev or so Hubner's black. Now why don't we just flip it? So, because we're looking at how black could have drawn. So we have H on the bottom left looking for black, and we'll try not to make it like calculus. Okay. So he played rook. This is what he did wrong. This is the line that he did. He did. I'll just make an analysis. Black to play. So now all you gotta do in the analysis board, if you're doing this or the board editor, you say, so you're under tools, board editor, right? I did clear board, set them up, said black to play, and then you just press analysis board or continue. If you want to play the computer or a friend, training partner, you say continue from here. Just remember to say whose side it is. And then you could just, the cool thing is I'm not even, oh, I am signed in, but if I'm not signed in, I could just send it anyway. We can play anonymously, one of us or both of us. You go to analysis board. Perfect. So now we can, and actually the computer, you see it has the table base. It already says it's drawn with those moves and it's losing with that move. So let's see what it was. So rook b1. Here we go. I'll move in. Okay, and here's what happened in the game. After rook b1, king went to h5. I mean, clearly this is not ideal for black. To the naked eye, it just looks like it's losing. Well, this is losing now, but in general, it looks bad, right? Because you got the 2 against 1, the king's coming in. But I think you're already seeing why it's even worse to go rook b1. It just doesn't make sense. That's the tragic comedy. Like, why would you do that? No, he's trying to check from behind. But he just had some oversight because, of course, after king h5, the check doesn't do anything. It actually exacerbates matters. It's even worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does he do it? No, he's not going to do that. What happens if he does? Oh, no, he has an idea. I see what his idea is. But what happens if he goes rook here now to h1 check?
The king would just go to
King
g6.
Right. Only legal move and a good move, right? And a winning move. Because now the f-pawn's hanging, mate's hanging. Yeah, he's just going to mate him, I think. I think he's just getting mated straight up. He can maybe sack the rook to hang on for a few moves. But yeah, so that doesn't work. That's game over. So his concept was to go rook here, which is actually, well, there's 2 ideas generally to draw when you're down a pawn. A few, but some of the main ones are set a perpetual check, go check, 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 you can't make progress. And the other one is just kind of lock it down. So I was like, hey, you can't improve from this position. So he's maybe thinking, oh, you can't start pushing yet. It doesn't work somehow, although I think it does. He just must have made an oversight. And then the other way, maybe, I mean, there are multiple ways. Another way is to try and stalemate them, right? To try and get a stalemate. Okay.
So what was the blunder, David?
So he goes, so going behind was the blunder. He should have, let's see. He should have stayed there.
He should have shuffled, right?
Or rather, no, he had to figure out which one to go to. He shouldn't have gone behind them. He has to figure out where the rook belongs. He went the wrong way. What's that, Nikki?
Oh, I thought that he had to just shuffle. Like, I thought I saw a problem.
Almost, yeah, and that's kind of the thing. He's hoping he can just shuffle here.
But I thought it was
Rather
shuffle
with this
the...
move, he's hoping he can just kind of sit there and make it work. Let me get rid of those arrows. But but we're gonna find out where to shuffle after this. Let's see how it went wrong real quick, and then we'll figure it out. So he went g5, took, and this is the problem. He overlooked something. There's only one winning move right now, actually. So, and it's just easy that he overlooked this. Oh, because that's the thing. He thought he was getting into a familiar kind of draw, but no, it didn't work. So what should white play? Yeah, no, it's understandable. It's kind of hard to see this ahead of time, but he could have made his life easier. White to move. What would you do here?
King g6.
You want king g6, yes. Problem is it doesn't work now because what does black do? You can get a much better version, in other words. What would black do now?
Oh, he's going to take the pawn, give him
He takes
check.
a check, and yeah, that seems to throw things off. There's no mate threat anymore, and he's just now black. I don't know if black's gonna win, but now black is the only one really, trying to win. Because yeah, I mean, it's probably a draw. You just have to avoid the mate. Okay. So he wants to go here, therefore, what should he do?
Push.
Just push, exactly, because then we get Matt's idea. We've used their pawn. That's the concept of using their pawn as a shield. Oh, that must be the umbrella that he's talking about. Yeah, no, I've thought of it as, I just call it a shield, but yeah, it makes sense as an umbrella. Well, then if it's a rook, we call it a bridge, usually. Building the bridge, which is Lucena's position. The concept of, hey, I want to push my pawn, but I don't want to get checked a bunch. And where to the extent that I can't make any progress and I have to go hide again. That's where you build a bridge. So you don't have to hide under a rock. You just hide under a bridge. And here you have an umbrella. So it's using, but it's, I guess the concept is you're using their own piece or pawn against them, usually pawn. There's a famous Capablanca game like that. He keeps using the pawns as umbrellas. Now that I think of it, it's actually the first. If you look up Capablanca's best games, it's the first one they mentioned under notable games against Tartakower. He keeps using the pawns. He doesn't. That's the thing. So he could have taken Capablanca. He resists the temptation because he knows he has an umbrella, and now it's just winning. So he goes F5, and then he resigns after King F8, F6. Although, yeah, it doesn't matter. He could do your move, Matt. It's interchangeable, right? Because that's coming next. So I don't know what black does. Check, whatever. You're in. Pawn's going that way, right? No checks, no nothing. Game over. Threatening mate. And then it becomes this way. Actually, just to confirm, how do you win this position since we're there? Because whenever, and the thing is, like, whenever you're studying a position, you know, other things are going to come up like this. Like, this wasn't part of the main thing we're looking at, but we'll reinforce this too. So how do you win from this position?
Rook D1 check. Rook
Rook,
D8 check, sorry.
okay, rook D8 or rook D8, right?
Yes.
I know what you mean. Yeah, rook D8. Okay, they have to block, and then
Then you capture,
and
then you push your G pawn down.
right, you get to push with. Oh, actually, hold on a second.
I mean, your G, I'm sorry, your G king, your king to G.
Yeah, your G king, not pawn.
Yeah, sorry, sorry.
Right. If you say it's, when you
Oh,
start
yeah,
saying
yeah.
letter, well, technically, because you write down like the, you know, the moves is like, oh, letter for something like for a pawn, like A7, G7. But yeah, that G1, I mean, that G1 that happens to be king. So check, blocks, takes, and then I call the red carpet. You gain it. You get the very small red carpet for the pawn.
I like that.
You have the you usher the pawn. Yeah, I just think about red carpet. You're ushering in the pawn to become. So the king has his queen then. Ushering the pawn down to become the superstar, right? So that's it. Check, take, and not check.
Oh,
Actually, no. Now he has to take the draw. Wait a second. Yeah, you have to take the draw. You have to just take the pawn, because if you want to go here, now you're losing. He pushes, right?
oh God.
Yeah, don't do that. That would be a real tragic comedy for a
Yes,
GM
yes.
to do. A finger slip or something. Just pretend it's a finger slip. But yeah, you have to just do this. Oh, no, not that. The other one, the G1. And then he pushes, you're there first because you push with check, and you queen with check. Even if it's not queening with check, it doesn't matter. You're way ahead. So you're winning that race. But yeah, the other way, actually, the computer also recommended rook h7. It doesn't really matter. Well, now you're threatening mate, and then they have to run out, and then you can check them. And then if, yeah, I mean, it's all bad. Let's see, check, they go up, and then you just go down, and you're going to promote. If they go this way, I mean, it's all kind of roundabout. It doesn't really matter. And then you just win the rook. I mean, I don't think it really matters. But the other one, I think the other one does just fine. The check does just fine. Okay, because you're going to just promote next. So anyway, this is why you don't go rook here to B1. So, I mean, what is, yeah, he's just trying to hold steady. He's just trying to keep pressure on the pawns. But basically, it was just the wrong way to go. And remember, though, he wanted this position. He was aiming for something. Where was it? Oh, this was our main line here. He was aiming for this, which would have been a Philidor's position. And this is a draw. That's the thing. So you have to, that's why you want to know your basic theory. I'll just touch on this real quick. That's why you want to know your basic theory. So for example, because this is fine. It looks, so for example, now you go this way to A1. So you are able to go back and check from the side like you wanted Nikki. And we'll get to that in a second. But so if he comes forward, you just check him away. Nothing happens, right? Check. That's what I'm talking about. Can't go away from the pawn. Nothing happens. You can just do like ring around the pawn kind of thing, right? There's no progress. And computer, you'll see a computer says draw and draw and draw on the table, but it just has it automatically drawn. And you'll see there are actually multiple moves that draw from, just to show you what I was looking at here, what I can see here. Where was it? From this position, right? So this is the only move that's winning, see? But so for example, takes, now it's saying there are multiple moves that draw, but I think this is the most, and yeah, this is the most logical because you come in here, you can check him away. It's very important though. You just get to the side, right? If it goes here, you have to check him. No, my bad. Hold on a second.
It's too late.
No, you check him here. Push. Yeah, you see, it's saying there's only that helped me a little bit, but it said there's only one move. But interestingly, when you go here, there's no way to make progress though. This, so you know this is a draw because if he pushes, you check him again. So
Yeah, you do
it's
nothing till he
they
moves
push
the
the pawn too
pawn.
much, they overextend themselves. Like in any king and pawn endgame, if you want to get your king ahead of it to make that red carpet. If the pawn leads, sometimes you just can't win. There's nothing to do. What's that?
Yeah, I just went over this with my coach, and she was saying like you just do nothing until like they move the pawn. Like you just kind of,
Right. But what I was showing you, right? This is a different version, right? What we
yeah.
want to get there for the classic Philidor's position, what we want to do, it'll be a little different. Like let's just do a little maneuvering for a second.
Okay.
Let's say you go here. So what you want to do here, you see it gives multiple moves, right? You could, but that's the thing. If you just look at the computer, like, oh wait, it's going to be completely out of context though, because if you study the theory, it's like this is just the move to do, because this is called Philidor's position, where you cut off the king. Right. So they can't come into support. They can't go in front. And then the second they push, it's very important. And again, there are many drawn moves, but the main concept is the first move, which is what's the idea there? I mean, yeah, as you can see, you could just check them, but the main concept is the moment they push, you wait. Yeah, you didn't do anything, Nikki. You would wait for a while on the 6th rank or the 3rd rank if you're playing on the other side. So you wait for them to push the pawn. Therefore, they lose the shelter or the umbrella, I guess, of their own pawn. And then what does black do now? Why rook a1?
Because now he can come in behind. Now he can come in behind him.
Yep. Yeah. Go behind backstage pass. They're not going down the red carpet today. We're gonna backstage pass to upstage. We're gonna upstage him. We're gonna upstage him today. Not
Do
gonna,
perpetual check, basically.
yeah, we upstage through perpetual check. Yeah. Here, and he's not getting in. So you have to make sure your placement's right. But interestingly, a good rule of thumb is if you're trying to win, you want your king either in front of the pawn or you can actually be in front of the pawn like that because it will be temporary. Usually your rook will support you to get out of there, right? But you want to be in front or controlling the queening square. If you are the trying to draw, you want to be in front. Just don't get mated, right? But you're close enough where you can stop him because otherwise he'd be able to get in front. Your king keeps him away. See? So that's important. It's probably a little different property too with the pawn, with it being a G pawn versus a central pawn, slightly different scenario usually. But anyway, yeah, so that's what he wanted. See, and whether or not he was in time pressure, I mean, he just made his job more difficult basically. But he had this in mind. He's like, look, I know this theory. So he actually saw this how many moves ago. He saw when he played this rook G1, he said 1, 2. So he looked ahead a few moves, right? He looked ahead 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 moves ahead or something. And he's like, oh, I got my draw. But he just forgot to look at one of the branches in his calculation tree, which is, oh, there's F5. So honestly, that is kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, but basically the thing is he could have made it easier on himself. I'll put back to the board by not messing around with all that. And it says the best move is giving, and again, as you can see that again, the computer gives, or the table base gives multiple, but we want to keep it simple and like actually understand, not just like, oh yeah, I can do this and this and this. Like sometimes Nakamura's explanations are kind of like, not to diss him, but you know, because he's looking at so much, he's saying, and that's kind of like the calculus thing. It's like super long lines, but why, right? So this concept of waiting, as we talked about, Nikki, to keep it
Yes.
cut off. And here the concept is, well, you're waiting on the 4th rank, but you do happen to have a threat on the pawn, right? And then the line that he gives is F5, and very similar concept. You wait for this move. It's kind of like similar thing, but with rank back. Now you go from behind.
I see. Okay.
No,
I
actually,
messed
King
it up.
H5. But look, King H5 is still a little tricky. You have to play accurately now. But this is exactly what he wanted to do. He was just trying to he just did it the wrong way. So it's not like, got to give him a little credit. He just messed it up a bit, but he had the right idea. So now what do we do? Again, we can easily lose this if we let him do what Matt wanted, which was to go King G6. We can't allow that to happen effectively. Therefore, we do what? See, and that's why this is getting, the thing is, this is getting complicated because the elementary book would just say, oh, let's focus on a Philidor's position, and that's it. This is like, let's look at something really complicated. And then after like several moves in a trade or something, then we're in a Philidor's position. So it's like we're going beyond the building blocks. But at any rate, then we wouldn't have our tragic comedy from just a pure Philidor's position. So anyway, what's the move now?
King H6.
Oh yeah. White would want to come in, but for black. Sorry, black to move.
Oh, it's black to move.
Yeah, for
Sorry.
black to move, what should we do? We're trying to hold this. What do we do? I mean, very similar to what he did, but interestingly, it's different because f5 has already been played. So it makes a slight difference because he doesn't get the thing with g5 takes then f5. It's not exactly the same thing that he wanted. And then with the king getting in front, he's just not going to get that anymore. Why not?
Oh,
Yeah,
because,
very
go ahead.
Because he'll probably get checkmated with the rook.
White would? White or black?
I mean, if the king was to come into there, yeah.
All right, we're not gonna let him. We're not. Well, we're gonna let him, but again, if the thing is one of those things where like I only give you permission when I know it's a draw, right? Like you could come in, but you can't make progress from there. It's always tricky though because you can easily mix things up. But there's only one move here. Again, it's the same thing that he did in the game because okay, we can do process elimination. We already know the check's bad because then the king comes in front and game over, as we've seen. Just slightly different version, but very nice version. We can mate him or we can take, right? And we have two connected basketball. So what is the only move to slow him down? You can't stop king g6. He can do it if he wants, but you're going to make it so he's not really going to get anything.
Yeah, it has to be rook g8. I mean, g1.
Rook g1 again, right?
Yeah, rook
And then when he
g1,
comes
right.
in, we take with check now. And the king could take. And then let's see here. We're going to get our Philidors again. Now this is a little funky because like the king did get in front. It looks like they got something. Yeah, we have multiple ways to do it, but I think I'm going to swing from the side. Let's see, what's the best way? I think, let's see if we swing from the side. And then it looks bad because they're checking us and chasing us away. But now we're setting up our series of checks, right? So like, let's say they go, oh, I don't know where they go, like here. Let's see, we start checking him, blocks. We're gonna even check him now. Because where's he gonna want to block the pawn again? If you want to go away, now if we were to trade, check, takes, king in, he goes here. You cannot trade rooks. You have to know that that is the losing. That's the losing king and pawn endgame. He's close. Nope, you got your red carpet, right? We can't trade rooks, but we can just, you can check him again. You want to go back? I'll check you again. Where are you gonna go? You want to go in front? Then didn't we already go over here? We already did that, right? So he's not making any progress. But typically, yeah, you can check from the side. Once he pushes the pawn too much to the 6th rank, then we want to check from behind. Anyway, that's the Philidors concept, right? But it manifests itself in many different ways. But basically, the point is that if you wait for it, put pressure on them, wait for them to overextend themselves with the pawn first, and they say, okay, how are we going to make progress? You want to go attack me? Well, no, I can simply guard. Or you could, all right, chase him. And this time he's not coming forward. And then you can simply guard the pawn, or you can keep checking him. Well, there's no progress. Okay, we're back where we were. You want to go here? I'm going to start checking if I want now. There's nothing to do. There's not even a line. I don't think there's even a line at that point. Well, if you look at this, they're all drawn. There's like not even a line. Oh, maybe you go way down. There's a line where there are a few ways you can lose. You can play 4 losing moves. That's interesting that would be losing. But yeah, but pretty much, because he cut off the king. Anyway, but just start checking him, keep it simple. But the point is he can't make progress in that situation. But yeah, you see it does get a little tricky, right? It does get tricky in some ways. But point is, in terms of what he describes, he's basically saying, don't go rook b1. Because then we're going to have this line. Now, does he explain it? That's the thing. No, that's another thing about it. Because again, if it were a beginner's or even intermediate book, they would definitely explain this. Rook g1 says otherwise king g6, g5 takes f5. It just says f5 exclamation mark. So of course, if it were, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, I guess, because he said the umbrella. So I guess you just have to, deduce that yourself. You say, oh yeah, the king's in front of the pawn. That's an umbrella. Maybe he explains it. No, he explains it earlier though. That's the thing. It's actually not bad at all because he's not explaining it as it goes, but he does say earlier, let's refresh our memory about the methods we've already seen of sheltering the king from rook checks. That is exactly what it is. It's just the shelter. The king approaches the rook. 1, the king approaches the rook, an effective method when the rook is not too far away from the king and pawn. 2, we build a bridge. The rook gives protection to the king. Oh, that's what I talked about. Literally, that's the same concept that he says, called a bridge. It's not lost in translation. And then 3, he says refuge. The king hides behind its own pawn. So basically he's saying it's kind of moot, but he's saying it's a refuge if you're behind your own pawn. It's an umbrella if you're using, so your opponent's pawn is your umbrella, basically. So, and then it's a bridge if it's your own rook. Oh, but then you could also use their king if it's not the rook. I don't know, would that be some other name for that, I guess, an overpass or something. I don't know what you want to call that.
I
So
like
anyway,
overpass.
yeah, that's the overpass when the king is in the way. But yeah, I've called that the umbrella. But what do you want to call it? You want to be sheltered from checks. As you see, the main concept is we're going to unleash an onslaught of checks. But the reason this is bad, oh, not there yet. They're coming in. Is because he's able to play G5. And I guess he wants, well, what's he going to do if you don't do anything? We'll look into that. But the idea is that he has the bridge. I'm curious though. I just see as we're asking, that's how my curiosity. Say, well, what happens if, like, what if he doesn't do anything? Saying G5. What if he doesn't do anything? Like, what can black do here? I don't know. Like, what if he goes F5? That looks bad. I think you're going to lose the F pawn. I think he could just take the F pawn. That's bad. Or bring the king around. What can he do? Like, what's a waiting move? So we know taking is bad. What if he just sits around? Like, what if he just goes like, oh, I don't know, here. Now what? So you just keep pushing. But I think the idea is that the checks now are going to be met by king wrapping around here. So for example, you see if you start checking, he's still going to get the F pawn. And then it's going to be game over. Two connected pass pawns and mating, that's bad. Right. So anyway, you could just play around with a little bit, see, oh, what if this, what if that? But I think we get the main concept, right? The main concept is that this was, it was pretty hard to see that, but to notice that this failed because after G5 takes, he has the surprising F5. And you have to notice that. You have to see not only for yourself, but you have to anticipate that your opponent could have an umbrella using your own pawn against you. Do you guys get that concept? Does that make sense? Do you have any questions? And then I'll quickly go back and show again what the right move was. There were probably more, and again, we can see here, there were 4 moves that the computer says, only 4 moves that are drawing. But again, we're going to focus on the one that he gives as his explanation, because otherwise you're just making random best moves, but they have to be connected to a narrative, especially in this scenario. Otherwise you'll lose track of it. So rook b1, it's kind of like with the bishops, knowing a bishop versus rook, you're like, I know I have to get into the safe corner. That's the narrative. Forget about exact moves because you're going to lose sight of your narrative. I need to be in the corner that draws, or like knight and bishop checkmate. I'm going to get him into the corner, same color as the bishop that checkmates and things like that. All right. So it's saying king up. Oh, no, sorry. What's the line it's giving? No, not king up. You just take the pawn. No, that line is going to be F5. And then that's when we go behind to B1. And then again, rook G1. So basically saying, hey, if you approach, I take. And it says the waiting move tactic, which, oh, he gives another one. Oh, there we go. Actually, that might be more in keeping with what we were discussing, right? The waiting move tactic. Nikki, you were kind of talking about this, right?
Yeah, the little shuffle thing. That I was practicing it on
Yeah.
weekends. That's the only reason why. But I think it was like
No.
3 versus 2 or something like that instead.
Yeah, but just in general, you make it hard for them to make progress. I think this is just the most direct, I guess, force their hand. But I think this is actually let's stick with this maybe. So the line he gives there is rook a5, and then if he goes g5. Oh, there we go again. It's basically transposing. Well, the rook is here instead of here or something, but you get from behind again, right? Here, boom, you have to play that move. Now it transposes, same position. And again, we've already seen this, check. It looks a little scary, right? But again, there are multiple ways to actually draw this. Let's say go here. Wait, what if he goes here, for example? We just wait though. How does he make progress? And see, this is what I'm talking about. Where if you get the king, you can't sit in front of the pawn and can't do anything, then you're fine. If he's in front of the pawn and can actually build a bridge, that's different. But then he has to go back, he'll be behind his pawn. So for example, now we could do our Philidor's thing. We wait here. We wait for him to push. Oh, connection's unstable. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you guys hear me? Yeah, you wait for him to push, and then you go from
I
behind.
hear you.
The key is you don't want to let him come in and mate you. Yeah, you come from behind. Okay, good. So you wait, remember, 6th rank concept. Similar idea though, Nikki. So we're talking about, so we can either do the rook b4 thing or we can do rook a5. So don't go this way, but do go either wait here or wait here. Waiting concept, rook a5. So what was the line he gave? He gave g5. But you see, that's what I'm talking about. We have a lot of sidelines. That's where it does get a little complicated. But I want to make sure you guys, that we still break it down so you guys still understand the main thing. So f takes g, takes back. Yeah, and this is the exact same thing. And black could defend with the Philidor position, rook a6, or passively with rook a8. But we've already seen that this is fine. You can literally just wait. But I wouldn't mess with that. If I know I'm okay on the 6th rank, I'm not gonna go to the 8th rank, right?
Mhm.
But remember, when the king starts coming up, you wait. The moment he pushes, don't keep waiting. Wait, let's see
Oh,
here.
bye, Lynn.
See you,
Bye,
Liz.
bye, everybody.
Enjoy your phone call. Bye.
Thank
Oh, now
you.
you can
Bye.
mention the Dvoretsky,
Okay,
Soviet trainer. Okay,
okay, bye-bye.
take care. All right. So we have, so interestingly, it says they can still hold, that you still hold, but that's not the main concept. Again, like the narrative is you wait for them to go to 6th rank. Just remember the narrative. I wait, the pawn goes in front of the king, so the king can't support it. And then you go here. By the time he threatens mate, you're checking him out of there. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Just checking him. I think my connection's not, it's lagging a second. You guys hear me okay though?
You're a
Yeah.
little laggy, but
And
it's
building
okay.
a bridge. Okay, sorry about that. And then building a bridge. Let's say you like, no, you just keep checking, you don't have time. But even interestingly, even if let's just give him a free move, like let's just say you always threatening mate, we can't really do that. No, we can't really do that. But my point is that even if they had a rook here, they could build a bridge like that. Now in this case, you take, the king will then let's just get there, for example. Let's just like okay, let's not mate ourselves. Let's just but at any rate, if you were to trade the rooks, then the king is going to be in front of the pawn. It's still a draw. Okay, that's the first one. So the concept is you don't want to let the king in front of the pawn and build the umbrella using your own pawn against you. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, hopefully I'll remember it.
Yeah, we just need an umbrella concept. You want something. The point is really to break it down. The idea is if you're trying to promote your pawn, the winning side, if you're trying to promote, you want to avoid annoying checks, right? And if you're the defender, of course, you want to do the opposite. Try and check them as much as you can. So that's why if you're trying to win, you'll either use their pawn against them. I mean, typically it would be your own rook blocks. If you're a rook and pawn game, your own rook would block the checks ultimately, and that would be the bridge. But we can also, what else did he say? So you guys remember what he said? He said the bridge. What's the one where you use their pawn against them to stop the checks?
Umbrella?
The umbrella, right? What was the other one he said? Actually, wait, it was the bridge,
Oh,
the
he said
umbrella, the refuge. Wait, which one was the? Okay, which one was the refuge?
I
Whose is
think,
that?
oh, bye, Leah.
See you later. The refuge is using whose?
Bye.
That's yeah. It says, bridge. Yeah, that's the other one. So it's either your pawn, it's their pawn, it's your rook. It can't be their rook. You can't hide behind their rook. That's the only thing you can't hide behind. That's the thing that wants to keep attacking you. But yeah, you hide behind your own pawn. That's the refuge. So basically, what you do is first you seek refuge underneath the pawn, like back here somewhere, and then you build a bridge to be able to move from your hide. It's like you have one hiding spot. You use your rook to help you to get to another hiding spot, so you can actually use that pawn and promote it. Because you're hiding behind your own pawn, in front of your own pawn. Well, it's like okay, you can't promote now. So ultimately, you do need to find a way to be able to move your king out of the way, usher your pawn down, and stop their annoying checks. That's your concept. Create the red carpet, usher your pawn in, and stop their counterplay. So it's all about obviously you have a clear idea of what you want, but you need to, as anything, like as with any good endgame technique, you need to remember what they can do, their asset, their resource, and you need to restrict them, take that away from them, and that's half of your technique. It's not just like, oh, I have an idea, I want to push the pawn and promote. It only works if you find the best way to restrict their checks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And in this case, yeah, this is just an example of letting those pawns go rogue because you didn't notice the idea of the umbrella. Okay, which other one do you guys want to look at? Which other concepts? Let's go back to this table of content. Oh, where did it go? Was it here? So yeah, I think this was an older version, but I can still pull up the equivalent in the book that I have. So we have the umbrella. Anything else under rook and pawn endgames? Matt, you mentioned this one. You were interested in this topic. So you have other things like, wait, what is Lasker's idea? What is this? What is the key? That's interesting to me too. The masterpiece. I'm not sure what, I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure which masterpiece they're referring to. Now, is it because his opponent? I assume the opponent committed a tragic comedy, which allowed him to win, maybe. But hey, it was a masterpiece nonetheless. What do you guys think?
That's funny. The ones that you're pointing out are the ones that like jump out at me too. Like I'm looking at the multiple pawn thing. Where'd that one go? Observations about where'd that go?
Endgames with many pawns.
Yeah, that looked interesting, but I already made a vote, so let somebody else go.
That's interesting. Yeah. Anything
I was
else?
looking at that one too.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right, let's do it. So
Yeah.
common endgame. Let me double. So in my book, let's see, what version do I have? It says 2014. I have the 4th edition. It was 2003, 6, 8, 11, and 14. That sounds like 5th, but okay. Well, I guess it was just that's when it was printed, but okay. That's random. Okay. Oh, they also did 2017. Okay. So I guess it wasn't 2014. Yeah, okay. Copyright 2014, printed 2017. But yeah, we're probably looking at a couple versions ago because this one's beefed up a lot. Okay. So we have common observations, right?
Yep.
There we go. This is 227. What is it saying there?
242.
242. Right. So, interesting. And this one, how many pages is this one total? 359. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty similar because I know that this one went into the 400s as well. All right, it was what, 27? 227 was it? Yeah, 227. So let's see what he has there. I'm sure he has more tragic comedies in this area. So common observations, he talks about rook activity. That's useful stuff. And that's the thing, like you don't have, so like look at this last page before this one. If you guys can sort of get an idea. You have 2 diagrams and you have a lot of text. I mean, there are explanations. Well, there's a bunch of explanations, a bunch of sidelines with evaluations of draws or wins. That's a lot, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot there. That's like reading an academic journal on something rather than just being taught, through a video or like this, or even that's getting into the weeds a little bit, but or just like reading a basic manual. So it's his Endgame Manual, but yeah, it gets a little journal-like at times. But then he has other things like the rook's activity, just gives basic principles. Like the rook's activity is the main principle for evaluation and practical play in rook and pawn endgames. That's pretty useful. Well, and the king's activity too, but that's often dependent on the rook's activity. And then he says, in these cases, one should relentlessly seek opportunities to activate the rook, even at cost of pawn sacrifices or a deteriorated king's position. So that addressed that. So he's saying that's paramount, right? He's saying the rook activity is actually more important. But like I said, if you have, let's say you have the rook cutting off, the rook's so active, it might be cutting off their king. So yeah, so in effect, it makes a better king in many cases. So let's see, where's our tragic comedy over here? Here we go. There's our tragic comedy on second game in. Okay, we have Taimanov. Remember, Taimanov is the one who lost to Fischer 6-0 in the famous Spain. I think Nikki, were you there? A couple of guys were there, right?
Yes.
In
I
the
remember
famous
the
lead up.
name.
Yeah, a few guys were there, I think. Famous lead up to the 72 match, 1971. This was 1955. Now, who commits the tragic comedy? I see there's a bad move by white, equal pawns, but it's all, you're going to see who has the better rook in a second. So this is, yeah, okay. And it's saying that white is the one that makes the bad move. So set this up. So just a few pawns. Yep, there we go. Okay, so let's go back to the board editor. And all we got to do, let's go back to white. All right, so we got king on g6. We got 3 pawns, 4 pawns. So it's a little interesting that we have 1 pawn on the queen side for each and 3 on the king side for each. Now, first of all, yeah, he gives an evaluation right at the beginning when we have this. Who do you think stands better, if anyone? And that's based on this principle that he just discussed. So again, even though it might gets pretty complicated in each explanation that he gives, but it is consistent with his, kind of intro to this section. about what I just mentioned about these principles. So based on that, who do you think stands better? Whether, or break it down the imbalances like the Silman technique. What are the imbalances? What are the precise, and that helps us to be really meticulous, methodical. What are the precise differences between white and black's positions? And based on those, who do you think stands better, and what's the ideas for each side?
I like black better.
Why is that?
Because that he's threatening to, he's, that rook is on the same line as the king. So that the pawn is pinned, plus he's
Mhm.
like if that rook ever moves, he's gonna lose the pawn, like if he ever gets off that file, I mean, the rank, excuse me.
The rook, yeah. You're seeing how much that rook is doing on A3.
Yeah,
Well, and that's the principle we just talked about. What was that principle?
um,
He said that
oh, the active rook,
yeah. Even and so the 2 points were rook's activity is the main principle for evaluation and practical play in rook upon endgame. So like even if it's a blitz game, of course, activate your rook. Oh, make maybe a brilliant pawn sacrifice. Well, you might make that what turns out to be a brilliant pawn sacrifice in the post-mortem analysis. That may have been done in under a second. You'll see GMs make that move in like half a second, right? In like a bullet game or something. It's like, well, that was a brilliant move. You just came up with it. How'd you find that? It's because they're following those basic principles. Like I'm going to sack 2 pawns, like this famous Capablanca game. But yeah, GM, anyone who really knows their endgame theory would think about that, right? Certainly, it may be intuitive that they would just do that because they know how important it is. Now, in this case, black hasn't had to pay any price, right? There's no cost so far. You just have better. But then again, we have to squeeze something out of this, though. So that's the question next. Do you have to sacrifice something to make progress or not? Maybe not. But white, it was white's move here, and they apparently made a bad move, which allowed black to gain ground. But as you can see, the active rook, Nikki, you mentioned that it's pinning the F pawn, making that king uncomfortable on the third rank. And so the king is uncomfortable. Let me get the arrow thing. There we go. So the king's uncomfortable, the pawns are uncomfortable. The rook's tied down to the A pawn, cannot really give up that pawn. So it's bad, right? Very bad. And that's why it makes it harder for white to do freeing moves like H4. Because you just take with check and then you take the F pawn. And it's like, okay, that's a free pawn. That's helpful, right? May not be like outright winning, but but it's gonna be hard to hold that. It's just a clean extra pawn. It helps black for sure. Get good winning chances. Okay. So in this one, it says material is balanced, but black stands better because his rook is more active. At this moment, both sides would like to improve the structure on the king side by means of the H-pawn advance, as I'm saying, kind of like a freeing move. But black is ready to do it while white is not, because he loses his F3 pawn, as I just explained. Now, why is black ready to do it? Well, that looks dangerous, doesn't it? But what would happen? Okay, let's evaluate that. Let's say
yeah,
black goes
that's what I was
H5
curious
and
about,
white.
because
Is
I'm
it
always
good for
afraid
white
to
to take it, Nikki? What were you gonna say? What do you think?
Yeah,
of
no, I
white?
totally agree. Like I was just like, well, like you were saying, like to evaluate why, because I would be, I wouldn't know which one to push.
You mean the F or the H?
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you think about it in terms of white's rook activity, if you push your F pawn,
Oh yeah.
actually that's bad.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be sort of bad. Well,
Oops. Yeah.
it's
Nah.
kind of iffy. It doesn't help us. It doesn't
When I
help.
let
No,
him.
you know what? Then he would have a series of checks. I mean, it's not like winning or something. He has to watch out for his own pawn, right? But
Mhm.
he can simply go check, 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 check. And there's no way out of that really, unless the king starts approaching, in which case then you have to worry about white eating the pawns on the king side. Maybe white wins. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that'd be a disaster.
that's not a good move, right? So what does he do? That's why F5 would help white. So yes, then it'll be the H pawn. Now, would it help? Would it be good for white to take structurally or not? Just these are just hypotheticals. But given that he's talking about the H5 thrust here, his advance, takes. Who's that better for, you think? If anyone.
It's better for black to me.
Why is that?
Well, now white is even more limited in his options.
And we're referring specifically the mechanism there, or the component specifically, is the pawn structure. The fact that the pawns are split versus black's pawns being together, right? Two connected pawns. These are split, very, as you said, like very limited, rigid. So yeah, we have these fluid pawns. These are split. They could both become targets. These guys are defend each other much more easily dealt with, and they could be fluid too. To push, chase the king back further or something. Who knows? But good stuff should happen. So what does he do? He plays rook h2, bad move. He doesn't say blunder. It says bad move. It just, oh, he's trying to achieve h4, I guess, but no, it doesn't really help h4 because you still can't take with the king and lose the f pawn. You can't take with your rook, you lose, and that would allow this to be met by, but black, first of all, black's not taking. Second of all, black's probably going to strike first. I don't know, but maybe he could have tried that instead. He goes rook h2, and then h5 is played. Let me plug it in though too. Then he goes back to c2. Yeah, might just be the power. It says I have full bars. I don't know. I'm not right by the Wi-Fi. Okay. Hopefully that'll help the performance though. So yeah, then it goes back to c2. Okay, seems pretty passive. It's giving the explanation. Actually, it gives the explanation the thing we just spoke about. Oh wait, let me do analysis board. So it is white to move. Okay, so white did. Oh no, not there. Continue. Okay, analysis. All right. So white goes rook h2, and now h5 is played. Then he goes to c2 again. But he's saying, well, what if he takes? Yeah, then he goes into the weeds again. But just give you a quick sense how bad it can get. Takes, h4, then g4. And that's bad. Because it's pinned, you can't take it. And if you want to guard, pretty sure we can liquidate. Take, and nope, doesn't win. Wait, hold on. What do you think? It says it's saying h4, then g4. I guess we don't rush to take. Well, we have time. Oh, maybe we could push the f pawn. We have time. He's stuck, right? How about this move first? What is white supposed to do? So you go here. You can just no, you can't take. You get mated. Oops.
Oh.
So do we trade? Let's see if it makes a difference. No, it doesn't make a difference. That's still a draw. What do we do? What's the win? It's saying then g4. Let's just see real quick why that might. But again, that's beside the point. But that just shows you. It just shows you how black would win if it splits. Let's figure out how would this be won though. After rook f2, that's forced. The thing is though, it's almost Zugzwang territory, right? But what do we do to improve? Actually, the question. Oh wait, what if we just take the pawn? And then he takes, then we take the a pawn. But then we lose the f pawn. And that's also a draw. See how it says drawn also? Let's see. Huh, I'm a little baffled there. What do you think it is? h4, g4, rook f2. But again, we don't have to do anything yet. We could wait for a moment.
Yeah, what
He's
if we
about to
just
go
start
first.
running the other pawn or
This guy?
something? Yeah,
Oh, so then once we have the liquidation, it'll be stronger.
maybe
Maybe. Let's check real quick. Okay.
because he can't really do anything.
It's saying, yeah, it's not saying it's like over. No, it's saying black is much better with f5. Isn't that what we just looked at? With f5, I think we looked at f5, king
Yeah.
f4. No, I think I did something decisive. I guess we don't have to do anything decisive yet. We check him. He goes back. Oh, we check him that way. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, you get fork, and then you get g3, and which is very strong. Of course, we squeeze him in there.
Okay.
So really, it's that because I gave him. I'm like, what is he gonna do? Say, okay, he has nothing useful. He goes here, and then it doesn't seem
Yeah.
that the check does anything yet. But no, it's that because this is already guarded by the king. Otherwise, you'd be able to take. So you can't do anything, and I don't know. He can go away somewhere. Then we can probably play g3. Oh, that's what it's saying. Yeah. Then it's saying now it's saying it's completely winning. Like for just an example, let's say it goes here. Oh, that's just falling. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that. Anyway, this is just to show you. He gives again. That's a sideline. Well, let's look at the main line. You can always come back to the sidelines, but that's interesting, right? So it's rook h2, h5. No, just it's important to know like why shouldn't you take? He's going to get in some trouble there. Well, that's even another line. It's like, oh, that's if you go h4, they have g4. What if you don't go h4, right? So you can really get lost in the sideline. But yeah, so that's where it's more advanced than just, oh, let me show you this concept. Okay, so rook h2, h5, he goes back to c2. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, he does. And then h4 check, of course. And then king goes to f2. Interesting. So wait, maybe it's black who should have won and didn't. Let me double check. Yeah, I think it's he says an incomprehensible move a6. It's some waiting move.
Oh,
Should have played.
snap. You said that was really
Should have
bad.
activated his king. Because the rook is so good, you should activate
Yeah.
it. But I mean, it's not like I don't see how harmful it is. Because I think he's figuring, hey, white has nothing to do, so I'll just wait it out. You know, but it's saying you should have gone, yeah, it makes sense. Why not just activate your king? Because you come in here, and get checked away. We have to find a way in. Maybe just go here. It gets pretty uncomfortable for him, right? So it's still tough. I'm sure he's looking at these like, what do I have though? It's not easy to win this. Even the computer does say minus 0.3, but it's more like how it played out actually, the story of the game. So let's see. So rook b2. Then it says bad move for black. So basically this is just an example where maybe black messes it up a little bit. It says you should have stayed on a3 until you move the a pawn well ahead and also improve the king's position. So I like his narrative here. Actually, this is really useful. It's not just lines. It's pretty good analysis. Okay, so rook b2, like actually accessible. King g2, and then it says bad move now, a5. Right, king g2, it says bad, now it's bad. Correct was rook a3 and then king f7, as we said. So why is this bad? Well, white makes it a bad move himself. It's saying it's a passive policy. Should have gone rook b7. So let's see here, what's going to happen? Well, what if the rook then goes to a3? Let's see, rook b7. It says rook c2 check, king g1. Rook takes a2. Rook a7. That's interesting. Then he gets into the fact that a grandmaster says it's lost for white, but apparently it's actually a draw. That's interesting, right? You would think it looks like it's bad, right? But it's
Yes.
one of those things where it's like, how does black actually progress? Well, of course, he pushes his pawn, but then what? You would think there might be some trick with like pushing and getting around to take h3, but the king just kind of waits. You'll see. So for example, let's see. So let's see the line that he gives. Where is it? But what about black's king? He will stay offside forever because f6 to f5 can always be met by rook a6. White's rook stays on a7. The king calmly waits with g1 to h1. If black pushes his pawn ahead, it comes to a3. What then? So basically, we can see what happens. Of course, he'll try that, right? So he waits. King f1. He says he waits between g1 and f1, right? Waits again, and of course he's going to try to check him eventually. But remember, it's very important that the king is not somewhere else where it's going to be, like the rook moves and is able to promote. So you just kind of keep waiting. Okay, let's say he tries to check. King goes up. You push. But now, how do you actually win this?
Yeah, you
Because that's what
can't.
I'm saying. Like if the king's here, then you can check and promote. But now if you check, you just lose your rook because the king is still, the rook is still protecting. So it's like one of those weird scenarios. Okay, and the king can't even move. So that's why this is such a strong move. You keep him stuck here, keep an eye on him here, and the waiting moves are done with the king. You can't move the rook though. The rook has to keep an eye on both the 7th and the 8th. And that's why he's saying, hey, you should have brought your king earlier and you wouldn't have this. And then maybe you would have ended up in here or something, or just like support. Yeah, just coming in to support the pawn, kick the rook or something like that, right? But he wasn't able to do any of that or wouldn't have been able to. It's fine. But here's how it actually went in the game where they got the draw. So it was h5. So we ended up getting rook back to c2. And then we got the h4 check. But you can see that white is definitely tied up. It's not good. But this is much easier for white to mess up, right? In this kind of position. Even though, yeah, but it's like, what is black doing? So rook b2, then he goes rook c3, which he doesn't like. So he wants to, again, bring out the king and push the a pawn, right? Pretty logical. King g2, a5. Doesn't like that, doesn't like that. Okay, what happens next? So we have rook a3, comes back. King f1. And then finally he goes king f7. Okay, gets his king around. And then white finds f4, creating counterplay. Okay. Takes it. Rook takes it. King g6. You know why he didn't take on a2 though? That's why this is actually a good move. Because like, hey, you're abandoning the a pawn. Why didn't he take on a2 right now?
E5?
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna get G5. He's gonna win this pawn. So it's like, okay, what are you gonna do now? King just waits. You want to check again? And just wait, check again. Now I maybe even improve myself. Oh wait, that's interesting. Check. Anyway, that's beyond the point. But take. Oops, not there. Takes. Oh, that's crazy. He has a draw like that. Anyway, anyway, that's beyond the point because like you could just wait. There's nothing. Yeah, you're okay because you're about to get this pawn back, right? So you should be
He's
fine.
really
Actually,
scared.
black has to be careful because the H pawn. And then anytime it's like this, though, as you can see, the rook can always come behind it. And that's why if you're trying to promote, you should be the one behind your pawn to support it. So we can always wrap our way behind their pawn. As long as you're not here and don't allow the check, right? You have to stay on the set. You have to stay here. So any check, the king would just take and the rook would be guarding. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. So that's why F4 was a good move. And they do actually take. Then the rook takes. So but that's not ideal for black. Kind of split him up. He probably didn't want that. So it says idea G5, therefore king G6 comes back. And then he makes another mistake, passive move. It says he made this passive move and resigned. And it is losing. Why is it? Well, it's bad. Why is it? It says it's losing. Why is it losing? Definitely doesn't help. No, this is not, nothing fancy really.
Well, can he just take H3?
Just
Oh.
takes the H pawn, yeah. So I guess he's just like, he did okay. He was doing okay. Then he just resigned. He just dropped the pawn. I think he's losing both pawns now. Like, what is he supposed to do? He could counterattack this pawn. No, he just pushes. He's lost. He's just totally lost. He can push again when he checks him. No, when he takes, he's going to be up another pawn.
Yeah,
Now he's up 2 pawns. It's pretty much just done.
even I can win this, I think.
So let's see. So it says instead of rook f2. So maybe that's the tragic comedy. I'm not sure which part was it. Well, I think it's just that he keeps saying like they both kind of kept making bad moves, and these were what was the caliber? Well, this is Taimanov. This was the USSR championship in Moscow, 1955. So he's like, look, and this guy's a Soviet trainer, so he's like, come on, you guys should be doing better than that. He's like probably chiding his comrades. So so king rook takes. So instead, right, oh, that was the sideline, my bad. So it was rook takes f4. And then it was, yeah, the king g6 line. Now, instead of rook f2, what should he have done? How could he have held on? I mean, it looks pretty bad, though. It does look pretty bad because effectively the rook is forking the H and A pawns. So interestingly, f4 was a good idea, but you have to still see this.
Heck. We're gonna let him take the A pawn and just block? No, that doesn't work, I don't think.
Block what?
I was thinking like king G2, rook takes A2, rook F2, but I don't think that works.
Well, then you'd probably have to just wait with your king. Or you definitely can't trade rooks, but I would say rook takes A2 check and king F3. Yeah, he starts pushing. Still a little tricky, but I think it also, the fact that there's that exposed pawn on H3 really hurts white in a lot of lines. So now he goes into a bunch of side lines, but it says he could have held after this move, rook F5.
Oh, okay.
The computer gives -1, which is not that great. -1 is if black is winning, it'll be like now it says -0.7. It's realizing, right? Same analysis that he had. And this was like early computer age, right? Now, even with these amazing computers, super strong, if it says that black is up less than a point, it means it's close to a draw. Now, if it sees a win, it'll be like -3, -5, -7, that kind of thing. Even -1.5, -2 in this kind of endgame might be like, oh, well, they're much better, but they have to prove it still. Or there might be some chances in a practical game to hold, that kind of thing. When you see it start going like -3, -4, then you see it really thinks it's winning. So anyway, rook F5, it's saying it holds. Okay, obviously the rook is going to take something. I assume they take the A pawn, right? And then it's saying do not go rook H5, which is the tempting line, goes in another line there. So what does it say? It says what you should do is, was it king f1? See, now it gets into the weeds. It says he could hold after rook f5. He has no time for capturing the h pawn. So what is he supposed to do then? But he can employ the Vancouver idea. So now we go back to, but see, that's where you're building on the basic theory. It says Vancouver idea, king g1. Oh, wait, what? Wasn't the king on it? Sorry, it was king, it was rook takes f4, king g6, rook f2. I thought,
At
wasn't the
some
king,
point, I think you put
wasn't
the
the king,
king on
wasn't
the
the
wrong
king on
square,
d1
but I
already?
didn't think it mattered.
What's that?
I
Oh,
think
my
the-
bad, he's on f1. What'd you say, sorry?
Yeah, I think the king was supposed to be on F1 or
Oh,
something.
it might make a difference. Yeah, maybe not a huge difference. So it's king f1, and then it was, yes, let's go. I have to redo the line real quick. Yeah, and then he goes to f7, and then f4 was played. G takes rook. It might make a slight difference,
Mm.
but king g6, and then that's where he goes rook f2 in the game, but it's saying he should have gone rook f5. Yeah, I don't know if it actually makes a difference. That's interesting. Okay, so it says rook. It says Vancouver idea is then he goes king g1. Although I guess he would have gone king f1 otherwise.
Right, right.
So now it's king g1, and then yeah, that's when you see a bunch of sidelines. Like, where were you again? Okay, then you go a4, and then rook f4. So it's just one of those sitting situations, and he says, well, if you want to go a3, then I'm going to come behind again. Let's go back for a second. So it's saying rook takes a2 is king g1, and how about rook here? I assume you would just bring your king up, right? You can just wait. Yeah, like, what are you going to do? Let's see if that, or even rook h5. Take, you're threatening. If he takes, you take. But king g2. Oh, and he makes progress with a4. Or king f. Or king. I guess like if you take me, I'd take you. But actually, the computer is saying rook h5. Allow them to take. No, that's what he was saying too, I think. And then take, and then check. And this is a known draw when they're the h and f. Yeah, it's kind of like has to be just the right way. Anyway, we can get into that later. But so anyway, the Vancouver idea, he's saying rook. Oh, that might be that situation. Let's see. So rook f4, rook a3, king. Oh, wait, my bad. Where were we? It was rook takes f4, king g6. So that's where he blunders with rook f2, right? So rook f5, and then the idea is rook a. Okay. Wait, hold on. Sorry, what was the last move? It's getting confusing. Wait, rook f5, he has no time to. Oh, yeah. After this is, if this is taken, point is that now we wait with king g1, and then a4. There we go. A4. That now we're on the line. Rook. Yeah, that was the position. Sorry. And then rook a3, king h2, king g7, rook b4. Wait. It's pretty complicated though, right?
Yeah,
It's
this is
still
rough.
complicated to prove that you're holding. I think it's kind of, I'm getting lost in a little bit. King f7, and that's where it's tough. Yeah, and he doesn't explain all the moves, but he says Vancouver idea. Let's see what he means by Vancouver idea. King f8, rook f4, king e7, and no more progress can be made. Here's his explanation. The king has no refuge from checks from the side near the passed pawn, therefore the rook cannot abandon the a file. So now, okay, here's what he's getting at.
Okay.
So basically so you can keep an eye on this pawn, and you can also start checking him, and then yeah, so you kind of keep an eye on the pawn and checks, and you can't really deal with both at once. Yeah, that's still pretty complicated though. It would
I
be
have a
like,
question.
yeah.
So like, let's say he was like scooching over. So I guess the other idea is that like, I don't think this would be good, but like if the king got too far over, would you take the F pawn?
If
Like if the black
which
king
which
like
king?
mosey on over to try to help his A pawn, you would take his F pawn?
Oh, right. Well, let's see. That's an attempt, right? Let's see what happens. So, oh, well, okay, we're waiting here. Okay, let's say the rook rook checks, king goes back again to g1, a3.
Yeah, I guess the white rook's never gonna let you get over there anyway.
Oh, that's important. Yeah, I think this is actually really important because maybe you're right that you don't want to go too far away. I'm not sure, but if you go rook e3, I think this is the point, right? We have this situation again, it looks like it's hopelessly lost, right? But it's one of those situations where you just wait here. If he checks, you go back. If he pushes, you go this way. You have to go that way because that's where he can sack the rook.
Right, okay, got
So
it.
you have to, whenever you have the chance when he's about to promote, you got to do that. But I think that's what he's talking about, where his explanation was was it that he can't abandon? Where is it? It says the king has no refuge from checks therefore the rook cannot abandon the A file. So in other words, like sometimes you'd be able to move your rook to stop the checks, but there's no refuge from checks. Oh, but you're saying what if the king starts approaching here, right?
Mhm.
Let's see.
But I think the set, oh, maybe not.
You cut him off. He keeps coming though, right?
Yeah,
So it says no refuge from checks. Okay, check. What if you check again? We wait.
you already answered my
But
question.
then that's
Yeah,
the thing. He can't move the rook because you take. He can't move the king up because you check.
okay.
Yeah, that's what he's getting at. So that's really hard though. It's because there's so many variables. Like now
Mhm.
like if it's like this, but this is kind of it just I guess it doesn't make a difference here, but normally you would have like let's say you just have some normal, 2 versus 2 without them being all locked up like this, where there's other variables like, oh, what if black tries to take the H pawn? What if white tries to take the H pawn in some lines? What if black gets G5 in? So F4 complicated, white got F4 in, but black definitely got the dangerous H5, H4 in. That definitely complicates things, but apparently they can still hold if they're really careful. But this is the idea. So you actually wait for wait, what was the other previously? So it's very important. Let's say you don't do, let's say you go here. Then the king starts coming out. It says it's not fully winning, but I think that you want this though, right? Make their job difficult. And how
Right.
does he make progress? King here. You can come here now, so you can't even play F5. Goes here, check. It's kind of the same thing, right? Back again. Now I'm sure a lot of us will be tempted to go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Then he goes around again, check. Now it's saying that he's winning. Here,
Oh,
rook check. Let's see why. King G1. Let's just look at where it goes. Okay, rook here, whatever. Yeah, I guess is the king getting it saying here? What's the difference? Okay, what is the difference exactly? Wait, isn't that very similar? Wait, you guys figure out what's the difference. Wasn't that very similar? I'm gonna look. Wait, now the
yeah,
king's coming. So we have this line where the king gets in. Why did he not get in the previous line? Where was the other one? Was it this one?
yeah, he was doing the little,
This was the draw one, right? Where the king, no, it didn't, where it didn't even matter if he came in, right? We were saying like something like this, rook check, king up, rook check, king back. Okay, like we were looking at this kind of thing, right?
yes.
Like where you wait here, and that it didn't matter if he gets, okay, let's say, what was he gonna do? Was he gonna start pushing more? Like, was he getting here? We go here. Oh, that's if we're already in front, then it doesn't matter. But still, what if we're not? Like, what if he just, well, what else can he do to make progress though? That's the thing. So in the other line, we just somehow we let him make progress. Look at this, look at the sidelines we have now. So that's kind of what it's like. Imagine you're reading a book and it's like this, and there's not that much explanation.
Yes.
That's where it kind of, yeah. Anyway, we're just looking at sidelines, but yeah, it gets complicated. You'd have to really study it for a long time. But it's like, but basically, we see some interesting. You start looking at like, oh, that's an interesting scenario, like that line that we saw before, where the rook was here and the king can't approach and the rook can't move. But remember, one of the main concepts there is that you can actually let them get pretty close. Like, let's just give an example where he checks, and oh, that's losing now. Oh, because now we can go around this way.
Oh, no.
See? Yeah. See that now you have to go here. Only move. That's important too. But the concept anyway, my point was that here, you have to be in. This is the only. In other words, this is the only draw position where the rook has to be here. Anywhere the rook's here, the king has to be here, because otherwise there's a dangerous rook move. That could be really bad. No, that's even worse than losing the H pawn. But this is what you need, right? This is the draw method. Because if he checks, nothing happens, right? But again, you do not want to be here, then it's game over, check. Then he wins the rook, right? So you need to make it so if he checks you, your king takes it, and your rook is covering, right? But as you can see, if we had gone here, then the rook goes, oh wait, he pushes, the rook tries to stop, and we go this way. And now when he takes it, we can skewer him.
That old trick.
Yeah, not to mention that the pawn's hanging too. I mean, that's going to be probably a draw because the final thing to look at is why it's a draw, because I did mention that. It's probably useful to know, right?
Yes.
Why it's a draw with those two. Well, let's do it right now, like from here. Let's say you blunder. Let's say like, oh, I didn't notice there's a skewer. I'm just going to take that. I didn't notice that. I'm just going to take the pawn. And you think you're still going to like, I'm going to show my technique and beat you. Well, I mean, it's still kind of hard. I think I beat an IM like this once. It may not have been the, you know what I think it was? I think it was G and E pawns, which is probably different because it's a wing pawn, right? And wing pawns are very drawish because if you can trade the other one off, that pawn usually can't win on its own, right?
Right.
So let's say this happens. And look at this, it's all just saying draw, 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 draw. Where does black mess up? Or white messes up. No, white can mess up still. So you have to be careful. Okay. So let's say that we'll just give some examples like F5. Say white waits, rook checks. Oh, well, we're not gonna just give him the pawn. We're gonna pretend like we're still winning, right? Let's do this. Rook B1, do not trade rooks though. Okay, let's say he goes here. And the rook just waits. Probably go behind too, right? Let's just say he goes here. And the moment the push happens, then he loses because he checks him away. So yeah, black can still lose.
Oh man.
Don't
Wow.
do that, right? So you can't make progress yet. So let's say he goes here. Sure, why not? And then the rook cuts off and he checks. F4. Hey, it looks like he's making progress though, but now the king has to go away.
Oh no.
So he has to be careful. Now, if the king goes back, well, then he takes the H pawn. So you can't really do anything. Okay, how does black even try? You see, you cut him off, can't push. What else can he try? Let's say he goes this way, just mess around a little bit. He wants to go from behind. And still, anytime you push here, you have checks. So I don't know. Can we just play this move? Let's see if there's ever a losing move. Okay, let's say checks. Let's go here again. There's really nothing there. You can see. Now what if it were okay? Let's play devil's advocate and give white a really like poor king placement. Let's say if we're not careful, like let's say we go here, and let's say he decides to voluntarily go. Yeah, they're actually losing moves. See, so I mean, obviously you're not going to do that voluntarily, but there are those positions in like the Philidor's position where you actually go back. But here, not necessary, right? You just don't need to, because in this case, remember in that case you were able to block with the rook, and now they have pawns that can make that harder. So yeah, just keep your king here. It looks like F4, and then we can start checking them again, and you can see there are many draws. But now finally we make them go back. Well, again, we always can win the H pawn. So what are they supposed to do? Again, very difficult. But again, oh, the devil's advocate one though is what if we go back? Okay, now we'll see how to win. We can check. You want to check again? Oh, we're gonna be able to, what do we call that? What do we call it if we're using our own pawn as the shelter?
Oh my God,
I don't think it really matters.
It's not the umbrella, it's the other one.
Using it to block checks. What's that?
The refuge?
The refuge, right? That's if it's your own pawn. If it's your rook, it's a bridge, and if it's their pawn, it's an umbrella. And if it's a king, it's an overpass.
Red carpet. Oh no, that's something else.
And then the red carpet is what you want.
Yeah, no, I
the
get
red
it.
carpet if you're the winning side, and you want to burn the red carpet if you're on the other side. So or funnel for access. Okay, so check. King H3, don't want to go there. No, we're gonna go to F3 because they attack it. No, this is interesting. What we can often do is we could even abandon the H pawn once we know we have this winning situation. We might be able to abandon the H pawn in many cases. Yes, we are able to, because we know we have a win now. We have our refuge. Let's say he comes here, and then you're going to see, for example, you could do this choice. This is Lucena's. We're going to try and get Lucena's position. It's a little different than usual. You're just really pushing your pawn. It's really hard to stop. What does he do? Let's say he goes back. You're going to build a bridge. We can actually, this is kind of cool. You can actually
Oh
build
yeah,
a
you can, yeah,
you can build a very,
position.
look at this tiny little bridge. I think can we do this?
The baby bridge.
Oh, by the way, this is what I'm talking about. Look at this one. Now we get to see it. We use their king to stop checks. See? Then we promote. And if they, let's say they do like a waiting move. Can we do this? Is that gonna work? No, we don't want that. We could. He's just gonna swing this way. No, we're gonna build a bridge like this. So you see when you start checking, check. Oh wait, my bad. Yeah. So then we built a bridge, and no, this does not yet. This doesn't work because we got our red carpet. We promote.
Yeah.
So basically, we're gonna stop. Usually the bridge you actually would stop the checks from the other side. So for example, let's say you go rook d4. That's the typical way. Let's say you
That's the
wait,
one I learned.
and then rook. Yeah, this is a little different. It's kind of weird with the king here. Wait a second. No.
Guess it's because it's a different pawn or something. Like I guess. A different
Yeah. This
pawn.
is a little different. I know. I think you could do a little bridge. I think we could do like this. So let's say he waits. I think we can play. This would be rook e2. It's not actually even suggesting it, but let's see. Okay, so let's say he moves away. You end up coming here anyway. Yeah. Let's say he waits here. No, that's an example though, like this. That would be your bridge, right? So you just clear the way for it. And again, if he checks this way, then your bridge will just be side. Okay, we can deal with that. It's just a sideways bridge. He goes down, and then let's see. How are we going to promote though? Can't we just do this?
Yeah.
Because then, but when he checks, here's the thing: he's got all these checks. This is where. What do you think you should do? Last thing.
Oh, okay. Let's
What do you
see.
think you should do to stop the checks? It's like, oh, he's going to keep checking me. But the thing is, you've already orchestrated this to promote on the next move. He doesn't have time to like go after your pawn. You're about to promote. So how do you stop the checks? Best way, only way, really. Because again, you block. He just goes back again. Yeah. Don't repeat. You don't want to repeat 3 times. Okay, so how do you avoid the checks?
Wait. Block.
It doesn't seem like you can, yeah, but no, this is another method. Because again, you got it ready made now. You're like ready to go. So you have another way here.
Oh, are you gonna zigzaggy down?
Yeah. Oh, there's your zigzag, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter because when you run, the thing is like you can't just shift and check you
Jeez,
from a
that's
different
a
way.
lot.
If he runs out of checks, you're just promoting, right? But that's different though, because like it's different now because like if you weren't in position to promote and be supported on the next move, then it wouldn't work. Then you'd have to have your bridge. But anyway.
A little
So
while for
yeah,
this
that's
stuff
what
all to
not to
sink
do.
in.
That's an example. What that would be a tragic comedy. What's that?
That's like, yeah, I gotta have all this stuff soak in because like when it's funny that like literally yesterday I had a winning pawn king end game and then I messed it up and it was a draw. I was really angry. It's
Oh yeah.
like, like it was like it was kind of similar, like, but it was like kings and he somehow, I could show it to you another time, but,
You can pull it up if you want. Yeah, why don't we finish with that one? If you have it handy, then why don't you show us? But in this case, it's like, yeah, they're like little rules of thumb. You just got to keep in mind. But like, of course, you don't want to go back in this case if you don't need to. That was just that Philidor's position one where you can, but even then you don't need to. So don't mess with. When you're on the back rank and you retreat your rook, that one no. But remember, this is as long as you don't go like to the back rank here and let them keep gaining ground, you should be able to draw this. But remember, you are in front of the pawns. That's important. Now, if you were somewhere else, you'll be lost right away. Like if this king is somewhere else, oh, and that's an example, like when he got to h2, like in this line, exactly. See, he went away. And then we have black has what he wants now. Oh, wait, no, this wasn't. No, where was it? It was the line where which line was it? See, look at how many lines I have now. But
yeah, it's like,
it was the line where it was this one. There we go. It was the one where did the king go? How did he get out of there? See, so he's in front of he's nearby, right? Now we check him away. And now, yeah, now he's in front of the A pawn, but that's fine. Or the H pawn, let him deal with that, but he can't stop the F pawn now. So it's almost like we could pretend like the H pawn doesn't exist. We don't need the H pawn anymore. That's our sort of a decoy pawn. It's a little trickier though. Yeah, if he's on the other side, just to demonstrate something. Let's say we were to do it like, I just want to set something up. Like, let's just let him be on this side. Or not, he's not going to take it. Okay, so if you're like this, and okay, so let's say you're like this. Now we can get our more typical, this is going to be a more typical Lucentis position since we're on it. And are you pulling up that position, Nikki?
yeah, I have it.
Okay, I'll just
But
show
it's
you.
not rook and pawn, it's just king and pawns.
Okay. Yeah, we can take a look at that too. But like right here, for example. So So how do you end up winning this position? Actually, we're already too close, I think. Let's do, okay, I want to set this up. So let's say we're like here and here. Like, let's say you're like this, right? So how do you win this position, right? So it's all about making their king leave.
Oh, you put the space in between them or something? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the
you
deal?
get more space, you have more time to do stuff. And then we have to create our bridge. No, but we can actually get deeper and look, we're threatening to push. Let's say check. You get see, we're in front of the pawn, like I said, like it's a very instructive concept, right? So let's say he's waiting. We're in front of the pawn. We need to get out of there. But again, anytime you come out, he's going to start checking you. This is very important. Lieutenant's position bridge. Don't go here, he's going to just kick you out. So you actually go all the way up here. You're going to build a bridge over here for your king. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
That's why it took like, well, it was not invented, or I guess discovered like around 1500 or 1400. Yeah, I think 1500 or so. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel on this one. You just bring out your king and you'll be sheltered by the rook. It's like, how does that actually work? What's the mechanism? Okay, let's say that the rook waits. Then we can actually come out. No more, the checks are going to stop. You see why?
Yes.
If you zigzag, like let's say he goes like this and it goes here. If he wants to really keep, don't abandon your pawn yet. And then you block. And that's actually just a dead draw, a dead win. Not draw. He can't go down here. He gets taken, right? So there's nothing to do anymore. It's lost. It's kind of like the situation where you keep going toward him and nothing happens. He can't do anything after that, right? Silence. It's done. Right. So, and the only other thing would be, what if he doesn't check again? It's like, okay, you're not pushing it. Like, let's say, yeah, let's say he does this move. Let's go ahead. Well, we could check while we're at it, but let's see. We're going to go with, what's the easiest way? We can wrap, yeah, I think we can wrap around this way. So let's say again, he just keeps waiting. And if he checks, you're going to go here and block. Let's just say he keeps waiting. And then we're going to go down one. So now we're just building a bridge here. That's all we have to do. It's a little tricky, but basically the only difference is, look, you were planning on him checking and you'd build a bridge on the 5th rank. Since you didn't check you and he waited, you're like, yeah, you could kick, I would kick him out of there, just like make him go farther away. Why not? And then
You'd be
we'll go,
totally losing if you went rook d1, right?
you'd be
If
losing
you
one.
mess that up, like no, like back when, yeah, like when he's here, if you went
Well, I
down.
don't think you can really mess it up that easily, because
Okay.
you can always like rearrange it.
Okay.
But the main thing is that he's away.
Yeah.
The way you'd mess it up is if you let his king come back.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not letting him back. You said if you go rook d1 right now.
Yeah. And then he'll just start checking you and you
What's
just
your
go
idea?
back.
Yeah, you're not going to shield the checks, and you
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to
Okay.
reorganize the whole thing all over again. You see, it says mate in 16 now, right? But yeah, I think it says rook g5 or rook check. I kind of like just like guaranteeing that he's away. Then I do like this swing over idea. It says rook e5. 1, 2. Either way, again, there are 3 moves. I don't think it matters. Well, you're already stopping the checks. Oh, you can go here now. That's even quicker. So now you built the bridge on you didn't need to like meet them to build the bridge on the F file. You build the bridge on the E file. You come down and promote. But like let's say you ended up going here, it wouldn't really matter. And again, when he checks, you just block. You want to go again, block. And ultimately we're getting our bridge. So it's a little tricky, but just remember, this is where the rook is in front of the king to allow the pawn to push, because your king was stuck in. So first, that's the thing. First, you had the shelter where your king was in front of the pawn. Then you reorganize the rest of it. All right. Well, perfect timing for the end of this. For the end of this one, now let's look at yours.
Well, we could save it for another time. I mean, it's like 2, so it's all good.
You said you what? Sorry?
Yeah, we could wait till next time if you want.
No, we can look at it briefly if you want. I think as
Okay,
long as
it's like super
they're just
fast. Like,
they're coming in now, but we'll see if there's time. You want, yes, why don't you show it to us show it real
okay.
quick.
I'm so
So was
slow.
that useful, guys? I know, yeah, let me enable share. I know it gets a little tricky, but hopefully there are a lot of, that's the thing, like the sidelines are kind of part of the discovery process. Like, what is actually the best move here?
I don't know if it's already a draw here, but yeah, I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't know if can you see
Okay,
it?
so how did it get messed up? Where was your tragic comedy?
Here,
And you're playing a
there.
17, you're playing almost an 1800 too.
Yeah, that's why I was
Okay,
really
so
mad.
you have white, you're winning, right?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, wait, hold on here. Let's see. What's the easiest way? Oh, you got stuck in there, huh?
Yeah.
And then it was a draw. Let's show us what
Yes.
happened. So,
Okay.
oh, so you thought you were gonna wrap around. Oh, they got the opposition. That's what happened.
Yeah, I should
And
have
then you had
went
no more
after
pawn
this
moves.
guy, I
So,
think.
right. Wait, so go, okay. At least you didn't get like in a situation where you're stuck
Do you
and
want
you
me to
had to
go
make a
further
big
back?
pawn
Like,
move
I
or
mean,
something.
like it was
But
like,
no, this is good. Wait, go back one. Okay, go
sure.
forward.
Just let me
You
know
could trade-
where.
You could trade rooks right now, definitely.
Yes, it said to,
Oh,
yeah,
wait a
that's
second,
exactly
wait a
what it said to
second.
do, yeah. And then I
Yeah,
did.
you did it. And then when you take, just to guarantee you have the opposition now, you're good to go. Your kings are, so you can always invade. Now, you could definitely, hold on, go back one. You can go either way. You could definitely go to D5 too. Because if you go to D5, you're going to come in one way. You're like, I'm coming into the left or the right. No, but I think your move is good. Because you're like, look, I'm just, let me see here. No,
No,
you
I
know,
think that
you're
this
gonna
way
have
makes
to, I
more
think you're
sense.
gonna have to do king D5. You're gonna have to come
Yeah,
back.
that's the
But
way to
then see,
go.
like you go king F5 in the game, right?
Yes.
So then he goes, they go king to E7, and then you go king G6.
And then now I'm like just so embarrassed
But here's
because,
the thing, here's the thing, you pretty much have to come, because you realize king H7, you get stuck. So you pretty
yeah,
much have to, when they go king F8, they go king F8, right?
yes.
Well, the only other thing to do with maybe G5, I don't want to mess around with G5. I think you
I
just
think
have
I
to
should just
realize,
head back,
oh,
maybe.
wait a second, if you come back, then they have the opposition.
Mm,
Wait, is it too late now? Maybe you have to, oh, you might have like C5 though. Yeah, I think, wait, hold on, let me see. If you come back in. Yeah, I think you still have C5. Let's see. I don't think it's too late, but you probably should do it immediately. But it's like what we said in the other one. Let's start coming back over to the queen side, start walking over.
this
But
way, you mean? Like
yeah,
coming
start
through?
coming that way. But
Yeah.
it's like what we said in the game, like if you mess up Lucena's position, even if you mess it up, like quote, mess it up, you still have a chance to make it work. Okay, so let's say they get the opposition now. It's very important. Yeah, they have. Okay, come on. Okay, let's go get it. Okay, I'll be right there. Okay. Oh, now she needs. Okay. I got you. We're going.
Don't
All
worry.
right.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
now
We can
she
talk about it another time.
Okay.
I got the general idea, but just,
I hear you. All right,
thank
we're
you
gonna
so
go.
much, David.
But
Have a
yeah,
great.
but I think that would be the. Okay. Let me pause it for a second. Hold on. All right.
But just this was like the